Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you've ever poured your absolute heart and soul into creating something, only to watch the view count flatline almost immediately, yeah, you are in the exact right place. Today we're cracking open a massive revelation about how the YouTube algorithm actually processes your metadata signals to find your perfect audience. We're going to solve that incredibly frustrating problem of stagnant view counts, and honestly, the fix is probably way simpler and a lot more structural than you might think.
I thought YouTube was against me, but the mistake was mine. Wow, that quote from our source material perfectly captures the creator's dilemma, doesn't it? We've literally all been there. You hit upload, it gets zero traction, and you immediately assume the algorithm is just broken. Or, it just hates you. But here's the reality check. The real culprit behind your hard work dying on arrival, it's usually not a bad edit or a weak hook. It's actually the instant gratification of hitting that public button right away. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, the instant upload mistake. Second, feeding the algorithm machine. Third, choosing your visibility option. Fourth, the perfect scheduling formula. Fifth, when to use premieres. And finally, triggering natural channel growth.
All right, starting right off with section 1, the instant upload mistake.
200 views, or hey, maybe for you it's 100 or even 50. You put something out there, it creeps up to this invisible ceiling, and then it just stops. Completely dead in the water. Your immediate reaction is probably to blame the editing, right? Or you start second-guessing that thumbnail you spent hours obsessing over. But our source points out something absolutely fascinating. Getting stuck at these low numbers often has literally nothing to do with the creative quality of your work. It happens because you clicked publish way too soon. You forced the system to act before it was actually ready.
Moving right along to section 2, feeding the algorithm machine.
So the crucial point here is understanding metadata signals. We're talking about your title, thumbnail, description, and tags. Think of YouTube as a highly advanced, giant sorting machine. When you drop content into the system, it desperately needs time to analyze these text and visual signals. It has to cross-reference them against millions of viewer watch histories to figure out optimal audience reach. When you instantly push something out to public, you're giving this machine exactly zero processing time to map those crucial connections.
And this brilliantly illustrates the difference in outcomes. With the direct public upload, the algorithm is just entirely confused. Because it didn't get a chance to process your metadata signals, it kind of just throws your work out to a totally random audience. And what happens when random people see something they don't care about? Yeah, they scroll right past it. The algorithm sees that rejection, assumes your stuff is boring, and boom, it dies. But with the scheduled upload, the algorithm is totally prepared. It had time to read your title, process your description, and match it with the exact right user profiles. This gives you a natural push because the actual right people are clicking.
Which brings us to section 3, choosing your visibility option.
Let's run through these visibility tools real quick. You've got private, which is just for you or specific email addresses. You've got unlisted, meaning only people with a direct link can watch. Then there's public, which goes live instantly. And as we just learned, that's incredibly risky. There's premiere, which is really best saved for big hype-building events. But the absolute king of these options, the one used by literally every massive creator out there, it's schedule. Scheduling is exactly how you buy the algorithm the time it needs to process your metadata.
Oh, and here is a fantastic pro tip from the source. When you do schedule, try to use the Chrome browser on a desktop, specifically going to studio.youtube.com instead of relying on the mobile app. Why? Well, the mobile app can actually be a bit glitchy when it comes to notifying your audience. Using the desktop studio ensures that the publish to subscriptions feed and notify subscribers checkbox is actively ticked. It's a tiny detail for sure, but it completely prevents the massive headache of your core audience totally missing your new release.
Next up, section 4, the perfect scheduling formula.
Let's see how this all builds into a totally bulletproof process. Step 1. Set a future date. The source specifically advises giving the machine at least a full day. So don't just schedule it for 3 hours from now, schedule it for tomorrow or even the next day. This guarantees the algorithm has ample time to do its thing. Step 2. Pick an active time. You want to drop this when people are actually awake and browsing. And step 3, relax and batch upload. Since you're scheduling, you can easily upload 5 or 10 pieces of content in a single day, schedule them all out for the week, and literally step away from the computer.
Now, about that active time, the data shows the golden windows are generally in the morning, between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., and then again in the evening, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Think about it. This is when people are commuting, taking a quick break, or unwinding after a long day.
They're free, they've got their phones in their hands, and they are highly likely to click on a fresh, perfectly prepared piece of content pushed to them by a fully prepared algorithm.
Let's move to Section 5, when to use premieres.
Premieres are essentially live events. They show a poster before going live, there's a live chat, and they really build hype. Because of that, they're exceptionally good for things like music launches, short films, trailers, or maybe a massive, highly anticipated comedy skit. But for your daily vlogs, standard tips, or quick tutorials, the source reveals that if you use premieres for everyday content, you actually just end up confusing the algorithm. You deny it that proper processing time behind the scenes, the hype doesn't match the standard content, your click-through rate plummets, and it totally kills your momentum. Basically, stick to regular scheduling for your standard day-to-day stuff.
Finally, Section 6, triggering natural channel growth.
It all comes down to what we call the prepared algorithm. Look, the platform is not your enemy. It's actually a machine explicitly built to help you grow. It just requires the right inputs. By scheduling your content, you are supplying those positive metadata signals, allowing it to build a highly accurate audience map before anything ever goes live. When the system has fully processed your tags and description and knows exactly who that thumbnail is meant for, it places your work right in front of a highly receptive audience. That triggers natural reach, which leads to massive watch time, which ultimately drives rapid subscriber growth. It's literally a domino effect of positive metrics, and it all starts with just waiting a day to publish.
So you've mastered the upload. You've given the algorithm its precious time, and everything is scheduled to hit the right audience at the exact right time. You've completely solved the instant upload mistake. But, as our source points out, perfectly uploading is really only 50% of the battle. Your video is perfectly scheduled. But what are the 5 things you must do after it goes live? Because if you drop the ball on the post-launch strategy, your competition is still going to outpace you. Think about that as you prepare your next batch of uploads. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.